Batman, the animated series, Season 1, Episode 4, Heart of Ice. Let's see. Directed by Bruce Timm and written by Paul Dini. And shout out to all the other animators, artists. I don't know all the titles for all of the people that put in the work to give us the episode, but thank you. Thank you to everybody who put in the work. So, Heart of Ice, characters in the episode: Batman, Alfred, Ferris Boyle, who is the CEO of the People's Company, which is Gothcore Inc. So Gothcore Incorporation. So Ferris Boyle is the CEO of Gothcore Inc., the People's Company. Summer Gleason, she's a Gotham 12 news reporter. Victor Freeze, who is an former employee of Ferris Boyle's at Gotham Core Inc. Any other characters I'm missing out? I think that might be it. So, synopsis. So, day one, we see Victor Freeze. Very ominous beginning of him looking at this snow globe of a ballerina, which is like his metaphorical Nora, which is the name of his wife. So we open up on Victor Freeze, and then we quickly go to a Summer Gleason Gotham 12 news report about a string of robberies happening at Gotham Core companies. And she's reporting in front of Gotham Core Factory, where it's August, one of the hottest days in August on record in Gotham, and yet there's snow at all these recent robberies. Snow, cold, and witnesses say that they see a guy with a freeze gun. Batman sees this. He knows that there's been a string of robberies. And so then he heads out to one of the Gothcore buildings. They have multiple sites around the city, I believe. One is strictly seems to be for office building. Another one's a factory. I'm not sure all the happenings that go within having a business, but I'm sure they have different buildings and businesses for different things. Hold on, this is Midnight. What's up, Midnight? Who outside? She barking, somebody outside. She don't really bark much, so she love to use her voice. You can tell because she don't come out in straight bark. She'll warm it up. She'll go, and then she'll start barking. But she misses her mama. Her mama is handling business right now. So anyways, back to the episode. This is day one. Batman sees the Gotham 12 report, so he goes to see if he goes to one of the Gotham or Gothcore facilities, and he's tracking down Victor Freeze and his crew, and they're headed to a Gotham Core building that has, I guess, their last piece. And so Batman tries to intercept them, and Victor Freeze brings out his freeze gun that the Batmobile isn't ready for. And for that first night, Victor Freeze gets away. Batman ends up coming up upon his crew, and them trying to rob Gothcore, and they get away. because Victor Freeze is one of his henchmen, but he has a cold heart. He doesn't care. He leaves. And of course, Batman, he can't just leave him. Or he thinks he can't just leave him. So he takes that henchman back to his Batcave, heals him up, sends him to the police department. And the next day, this is day 2, Bruce Wayne has a meeting with the head of GothCorp Inc., Ferris Boyle. He meets with Ferris Boyle, and we see that Ferris Boyle isn't a cool guy. He's an industrialist. He makes a lot of money. He doesn't care about people. And he is soon to be the recipient of the Humanitarian of the Year award. So clearly, Batman the Animated Series mirrors reality. The joke of life, the least deserving of humanitarian. And he gets it. So Batman's trying to get some information as Bruce Wayne from Ferris Boyle about who could possibly be robbing GothCorp. So after this meeting, that evening, Ferris Boyle is to receive the Humanitarian Award. That evening, Batman, after figuring out that he's not going to get enough information from Ferris Boyle, understands he needs to go find secret files and figure out what actually happened. And he figures out that there was an incident a year ago where a scientist was running an experiment. There was a big explosion, and that scientist was Victor Freeze. So Batman finds this out because he pops in a videotape from the files and gets mad information. But right when he does this, Victor Freeze finds him, freezes him. He's in Freeze's lair, where I guess he's finishing putting together all the stuff he needs to for his ultimate big freeze gun to take out Ferris Boyle. So long story short, Batman escapes from Victor Freeze's frozen handcuffs, and he goes head-to-head with Victor Freeze and saves the day. Even saves the villain, Ferris Boyle. And the episode ends with Victor Freeze in Arkham Asylum. Very sad, crying, and speaking to himself about how he failed Nora, his wife, and he couldn't bring her back to life. By the way, that's the whole reason he was even doing anything, all of this. It was because he had a chance to save his wife Nora's life, and Ferris Boyle messed that up. And watch the episode. I always push watch the episode. This is just from my perspective that I'm giving you some goodies. Or not. Maybe I'm just reiterating what somebody else actually put the work in for. So, that was a synopsis. Interesting episode. Now, Batman Arkham Games was Arkham City. They had a DLC that was inspired by this episode. I mean, I'm assuming, but the DLC, I believe, is called Heart of Ice. And the episode in Batman the Animated Series is called Heart of Ice. And there's even a sequence in the last part of the episode that reminds me of the beginning sequence of the Heart of Ice DLC, where Victor Freeze bursts into Ferris Boyle supposedly getting an award for his humanitarian work. And Victor Freeze comes in and, he ice cubes, "Where's my money from NWA? Let me show y'all I mean business." The situation. Funny. Oh, Victor Freeze went Ice Cube on him. So let's see. Interesting things about the episode. Victor Freeze has purple gloves. And the thought that came to me was one of the first iterations of Batman. He had purple gloves. So just another example of how Batman's villains mirror him in a myriad of ways. Summer Gleason, I enjoyed It's supposed to be a cold episode happening in August, one of the hottest August days on record. And we have names like the Gotham 12 reporter, Summer Gleason, and maybe even Gleason could be like, I don't know, Gleason, gling, gling. I don't know. But yeah, Summer with the the whole hot, cold, Ferris Boyle. So yeah, I got a kick out of that. I thought that was fun. The names. Let's see. Going through the episode. Let's see. What else am I thinking? Oh, one of the things I thought was very interesting was I think when Victor Freeze catches Batman, and Batman has the ice handcuffs on and his feet are all frozen up to the ceiling. I think that's Victor Freeze's like his lair. And maybe it's possible Christopher Nolan and them got some inspiration from an episode like this. Because it seems like Victor Freeze set up his base right underneath his enemies. Much like Bane in The Dark Knight Rises. Or much like Talia al Ghul in Bane in The Dark Knight Rises. But I say that to say because when Batman escapes, he gets out, and it seems like he's like in an alley. So maybe it's like the back of the GothCorp building. But as Victor Freeze is freezing the building up, you see ice suddenly separating him from the door he just came out of when he escaped the lair. So I was thinking, oh, interesting. So Victor Freeze might have set his lair up, literally right under the nose of his enemies. Something that made me think of a callback to The Dark Knight Rises. So I thought that was very cool. I thought that was very neat. It's a sad episode. The villain doesn't receive his comeuppance, I guess. Or maybe he does. Or maybe this is just a great example of how the world works. The people with money hurt the people with no money, the victims, and the victims react and they become the villains because they see maybe this is the only way they can react and make that person or make anybody respond to them or listen to them. But then they go to jail, and the person that supposedly was doing the real evil, but that I guess wasn't breaking any laws or was allowed to bend and break some laws, is okay. So I say that to say at the end of the episode, Victor Freeze is arrested. He's in Arkham Asylum. First time I believe you see Arkham Asylum in the Batman animated series. And Ferris Boyle, the guy that is supposed to be the People's Company, that was willing to let Victor Freeze's wife Nora die because he doesn't want to waste money. Which, I mean, okay. Maybe he's not breaking the law by putting money over people, I guess. I don't know. But for him to be the CEO of the People's Company, he doesn't care about the people at all. And he doesn't go to jail at the end of the episode. He's saved by Batman. So it's interesting, like this supposedly kids cartoon that's supposed to be showing either before or after Looney Tunes on the weekends has a villain who's really a victim who had no problem with Batman. He's in jail, sad. I mean, his wife is gone as far as he's concerned. He failed her. He's failed his memory of her. Who knows what promises he made to her and himself. Broke all of those. And Ferris Boyle, sleeping in his penthouse, got the humanitarian award. All right, maybe this doesn't look so good in the news for a few days, but maybe just throw some money at the situation. So, very gray, complex. There isn't no good guy won, bad guy lost. Everybody feels good going home. Even at the end of the episode, Batman travels to Arkham Asylum. He's looking at Victor Freeze. And as he's turning away, he gives one last look back. And it's like, yeah. Today was probably a hard day for Batman. He had to put a man in jail away who was doing what he's doing, trying to get justice for the love and lives he's lost. And he knows, how easy it is to make that wrong turn, and that Victor Freeze made that wrong turn. And Batman had to do something about it. But Batman still feels for him, to feel for the villain. And then the person who isn't considered the villain, he's the real evil, but nothing's done to him. So interesting, very interesting. Gray, walk away, Gray. You don't walk away feeling like, dun, 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 the day's been saved, all good. It's like, okay. It's like when you're not going to be able to finish this gigantic Mount Vesuvius of a project in one day. You're going to have to trudge through this project, and then you're going to feel like you want to quit, and it's going to feel like you haven't made progress. To me, that's like a parallel to what Batman's doing. This big project, fighting crime. And in this episode, maybe Batman doesn't 100% feel like everything happened the way it was supposed to. Or at least he maybe wanted it to. What else? I'm trying to think of the episode. Day 1, day 2. I can't think of too many things else. I can't think of too much else. There you go. Yeah. Mark Hamill was the voice of Ferris Boyle. So there's that. He was playing the Joker later, but he's introduced through Ferris Boyle. And let's see. I'm not sure if there's too much else I'm thinking through. Like day 1 and day 2 and Batman fighting Freeze, and yeah. Interesting. For a kid's cartoon, this episode is, in an interesting way, a tough pill to swallow, But yeah. Let's see what else. I guess life lessons to take from this. Any life lessons to take from this episode? Sometimes, I guess things are just sad. Things are unfortunate. You can't always just end the day with, I got to make sure it's happy. I got to make sure there's a positive resolution to. So I guess sometimes there's not always a feel-good resolution to things. And so I guess that's something to keep in mind of, something I can let this episode remind me of. I'm not owed a happy ending at the end of the day or the week or the month. I'm not, life doesn't owe me a smile that I'm supposed to be, anything. So, and just a reminder, whatever path you're walking, sometimes you have to be able to meditatively walk it for the sake of walking it, because things aren't always going to go the way you want, or the way I want, or positively, or for the force of good. And I guess when it comes to doing what you think is right, well, I don't know if Victor Freeze thinks what he's doing is right. I think he thinks he's validated in being wrong because he was wronged. So maybe, yeah, so I'll take that's how not to respond to a situation in Victor Freeze's circumstance. It's okay. It's tough. You want to get revenge, but revenge isn't a solution for anything. Yeah, so a couple of lessons I guess I could take from it. Yeah, Batman, the animated series, season 1, episode 4, Heart of Ice. Check it out whenever you have a chance. If you dig Batman or you just need some real animated, it's funny, real animated, yeah. It's like a big shrimp. But I think it's a pretty good story. Check it out. All right. Peace.